In this section, we will be covering the training for the Analyst role. Analyst users will be mostly concerned with the Builder section. This is the area where you will define, build and edit your audiences based on your campaign requirements. As you can see, we have already set up some audiences for demonstration purposes. Throughout this session, we will take you through the Builder UI, demonstrate how to create new audiences and show you how to edit existing ones. Firstly, on the Builder UI, I will explain each column heading. The name of the audience is defined by you. It is important that you agree internally on a naming convention that highlights the key identifiers of the audience. The platform shows the logo of the platform that the audience is connected to. The business area is a free text field and should be used to label your audiences with the relevant area of business. The frequency is how often the audience will run. The default will be set to daily, and you can amend this using a drop-down to weekly or monthly. The last run section shows the date the audience was last run without any changes. The last connected section shows the date and time the audience was successfully uploaded and there was a change to the underlying data. The status of the audience will show as one of the following: draft, pending, running, paused, or error. The audience will remain as draft until you select save and schedule. At this point, it will show as paused. Once you select run, this will show as running. The status will show as pending whilst the marketing platform is still in the process of uploading the data. This should be very quick for Facebook, but may take longer when uploading audiences to Google Ads. You can manually set an audience that was running to be paused. The final status is error. An audience automatically turns to error if it fails to upload. You will also see that there are 4 icons to the right on each audience. The first icon is the pencil. This gives you details about the audience, including its name, business area, and its description. Next, you will see the settings cog, which allows you to edit the audience. When you click on this, it takes you to the detailed build page, which we will come onto shortly. The clone icon will copy your existing audience and append the audience name with the word copy. This is a very useful shortcut for when you want to create new audiences without having to start from scratch. You can then make any required amendments to the duplicated audience. Just remember to rename it as well. The application will not allow 2 audiences to occupy the same name. And lastly, you can remove an audience by using the bin icon. Once you click the icon, it will check if you want to permanently delete. Once you have confirmed you do want to remove it, this is final, as there is no recycle bin, so do be vigilant when using this function. And finally, in the top right of your screen, there is a useful search function where you can search for the name of an audience to quickly locate it. This is especially useful when you have many audiences built. We will now move on to creating a new audience. Before we define any new audience, it's important to call out that the empty audience must be set up within the marketing platform, for example in Google Ads. This empty audience will be the location that the data segments you create are sent to. So for the next step, we'll assume these empty audiences have already been created by yourself. To create a new audience, click the Add New Audience button in the top left corner. When it comes to naming your audience, we strongly advise that you use a naming convention to avoid confusion, especially as your list of audiences grow. This should mirror what the audience is called within the third-party platform and be as descriptive as possible. Secondly, you have the option of giving it a description. We recommend you do this as it helps to remind you and others what this audience includes. Lastly, you can assign a business area. We recommend populating all fields, however only the name is mandatory. Once these have been inputted, press continue. This will now take you to the audience settings. Within the audience settings, there are several mandatory drop-down menus you need to select from. The first is the data source. These will have been set up as part of the implementation. In the event you have multiple data sources and are unsure which one to select, your admin user will be the best person to discuss this with. The second is the marketing platform. For demo purposes, we're going to select Facebook. Following on from your selection of the marketing platform, another drop-down box appears. This is labelled Audience, and it contains all custom audiences in your selected marketing platform. Just select the audience you have already created that you want to link your new audience to, either by finding it in the list or searching for the name. The next section is frequency, which dictates how often you would like the audience to update. You can set this to daily, weekly or monthly based on your preference. With daily, you will be asked to select a start time. If you choose weekly, you will need to set a day of the week and a start time. If you choose monthly, you need to select a day of the month as well as a start time. Check all details are correct and then press continue. This next section is where you map key fields from the database to the information in the marketing platform. But before that, you need to select the correct field which denotes marketing consent. This should be labelled clearly by your administrator. If not, please check which field should be selected here. The consent field may not appear in some cases. This could be because consent is already applied across all records, or the admin user has chosen that consent is not mandatory for that specific marketing platform. Underneath consent on the left is the database schema, and on the right is a drop-down which includes the marketing channel identifiers. The values in the drop-down are based on the permissions that were included when creating the marketing channel in the application. This would have been completed during implementation or by your admin user. For this stage, you will need to map the customer identifiers from the database to the correct customer identifiers on the marketing platform. For example, in this case, the admin user has selected phone number as the only identifier the marketing platform will receive. This means I need to map this correct field in the database. Finally, check your inputs and save. This brings you back to the initial builder screen where you can see the audience you've created at the top of your list, flagged as draft. To configure your audience, you can either click on the name or on the settings cog. This takes you to a new section of the app. On the top left, you will see the audience's name, the status, and the frequency that you have applied previously. In the top right, you can see further details of your audience, including the marketing platform and data source it's connected to, as well as the audience ID. The pencil allows you to check the description of business area you have previously assigned to the audience. Now for the fun part. At this stage, you can slice and dice your customer data to create an audience segment. This uses simple logic input fields. In this case, the first field you will be asked to complete is consent. This is to ensure only consented customers are included. If the marketing channel has not been sent to consent required, then this field will need to be added manually. Now search and scroll to find the relevant fields you wish to include in your audience. Before dragging and dropping your field, choose a relevant logic statement to build out your query. On selection, a new box will appear for you to place your bespoke fields. Simply select, drag, and drop into the sections as shown. Don't worry, we will walk you through a work example later on to bring this to life. Once your fields are populated, select a conditional logic statement that best meets your requirements, then insert a value. If a text field is selected, you have the option to use a search function which will display the values you can select from. Or alternatively, you can start typing in the space. If you hit spacebar, the fields will show in alphabetical order. If you select a numerical field, you can type in the correct value or use the arrows to define. Once you have defined your query, you can check it looks accurate by reviewing the SQL code. You can also send this to your admin user if you have any queries you can't resolve yourself. You will also see a filtered audience size showing you the number of records the audience contains. Once you are happy, you can either save this draft to complete later or save and schedule, which will populate the audience for you to use. You will see a green bar appear at the top, signaling a successful scheduling. The default status of the audience is paused, and in order for it to run, click Run. After this, it will run automatically on the frequency you have scheduled, and you will see the status change to running. If the marketing platform is in the process of updating the audience, it will show as pending. Now your audience is running successfully, you can return to the audience's home view. To the right of this, you will see the grade of this audience, when it was last connected, and when it was last run.